This is a really hard video for me to shoot. It might be a hard video for you to watch, but these are the truths that I've had to face about myself to make my gym successful. The thing that stops our gyms from growing isn't lack of knowledge, not anymore. It's certainly not lack of ideas. It's usually our own self-limiting behaviors and beliefs. Here's a great example. When I found my first mentor, I thought, I need better marketing. It took an objective third party to say, you have no systems. You're yawning in front of your clients because you're tired. Your staff don't feel secure, and you're mad all the time. When we take clients through the two-brain incubator, we know we're taking them through a process that often requires them to change their beliefs. We can say, discounts are bad, here's why you need to eliminate them, and here's how to do it. But as I've been talking about all week, changing behavior means more than informing the rider. It means motivating the elephant. Gym owners usually don't want to change their beliefs. Their brains wriggle around. They try to find an easier way, so they procrastinate. Sometimes they argue with us. The elephant just doesn't want to follow the hard path forward. Trust me, I face tough decisions and hard conversations all the time. I still try to avoid them. My rider is very informed, but my elephant in my head has its own ideas. Self-examination is critical for the growth of your business and your growth as a leader. I needed my first mentor to perform this examination of my business because I was too close to see its flaws. Now my mentors help me work on the biases and bad behaviors that I'm going to talk about next, because you might have them too. The first is confirmation bias. We surround ourselves with people who believe what we believe. We create these online echo chambers around ourselves. We seek out people and ideas that confirm what we think we know instead of challenging ourselves to see another perspective. The next is novelty bias. We tend to believe that the last thing we learned is the most important thing in the universe. Definitely more important than anything else. How often have I read a great book and immediately changed my business because of its message? Like too often to count. The last thing you learned or read is important, but not so important that it replaces everything else. This is sometimes called recency bias, but it could also be called frequency bias. You tend to pay attention to the things you appear more often. So if other gym owners are talking about Facebook ads all the time, you'll pay attention to advertising on Facebook, even if it's far less important than retention or lead nurture is. I once had a coach who attended a weightlifting seminar. Awesome seminar. He showed up and he didn't own weightlifting shoes, so the instructors had him put these little steel 5-pound plates under his heels while he was lifting. So then when I walked through his first class on Monday morning, every person in that class had a 5-pound plate under their heels. We had this long conversation about the goals for our clients and recency bias after that, but that story still makes me smile. The next is busyness bias. We believe that if we're super busy, we must be getting closer to success, but this isn't true. Truly successful people have control over their time and their brain space. Like the other biases and behaviors, being busy can become hardwired into our brains. Everything we take into our minds for processing goes through this little almond-sized part of the brain, it's down here, called the amygdala. It's a really old system that predates our prefrontal cortex, and it's mostly responsible for the fight or flight instinct. The first unconscious thought we have about anything in our world is, will this hurt me? Here's the thing. Founder phase entrepreneurs face a ton of fight or flight decisions every single day. Everything is an opportunity and everything is a threat. Plus they're stressed out. So these factors are like exercise to the amygdala, and it grows. And then when the entrepreneurs finally reach tinker phase, they try to relax and their amygdalas fight back. To justify its own size and control, the amygdala seeks stimulus. So the entrepreneur can't put down their phones. They create drama in their personal lives unnecessarily. They make sweeping changes to their business to prove that the business still needs their constant attention. Nobody can fix this except for me. For more on that one, you can read The Hustle is a Lie, an article that I've linked below. Most gym owners I know are working really, really hard. Very few of them are actually accomplishing anything except staying busy. Next is the multitasking bias. We try to do way too many things at once. The reality is that you can only do one thing at a time, and jumping back and forth between two or more things just makes you tired. If you have 5 big ideas for 2020, I can guarantee you won't deliver on all of them. I can almost guarantee you won't deliver on any of them. But if you have one big idea and you work on it with singular focus, you'll probably bring it to market. There's a link below called The Multitasking Myth and 5 Steps to Fix It. And if you click on that, you can read the article about multitasking. The next bias is blame. My wife's favorite saying is, "It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility." When I see gym owners complaining online, I always want to ask, what are you going to do about it? Complaints about city zoning or insurance or rants about their clients, frustration with their staff. When you realize that you have to actually solve the problem instead of just sharing the problem, you waste less time complaining and you spend more time working on the answer. Still, I love to play the blame game. If that guy had just done what I told him in 2018, he wouldn't still be stuck with a broken gym. That's what I think, but that's the wrong mindset. Instead, I should think, if I'd only convinced him to work with a mentor in 2018, he'd be successful by now. That's taking ownership of the problem instead of playing the blame game. Here's one I see all the time. My clients gossip or chat while I'm explaining the workout, and then they ask me questions instead of warming up. Why can't they just pay attention? The real question you should be asking yourself is, how can I get my clients to engage with my workout explanation? Blame and ownership are mutually exclusive. Leadership means radical acceptance of responsibility. If you're blaming others, you're not fixing problems. That's fine if you're an employee. It's not acceptable if you own a business. If you don't solve problems, they will kill you. And if you're blaming others, you're not solving problems. The last bias that I need to talk about, or bad behavior, is ego. I saved it for last because this is the hardest of all. Ego isn't the enemy. It takes a bit of ego to coach people. It takes more ego to open a gym. When you're starting something new, ego is actually a tool. But ego is also the mental trap that kills most gym owners, and it almost killed me. When I opened a gym, I didn't have a plan. I was just really passionate about teaching exercise. And in full honesty, I was probably the most knowledgeable coach in town. But that didn't make me the best coach in town. My ego said, "You're the smartest, so you'll make the most money." That wasn't true. My ego said, "If you tell your clients how dumb that other coach is, they'll respect you more." And that really wasn't true. My ego said, "You're smarter than all those business experts. You don't need their help." And that almost killed me. My ego said, "Asking for help means you're too pitiful to deserve help." And that was completely backward. My ego said, "You can outwork your mistakes. You can dig yourself out of this hole." And that was crazy. My ego said, "Your wife and kids will respect your sacrifice more than they'll miss you at bedtime." And that almost ruined my life. It's hard to film this post, do this video, because reading the list of biases makes me realize that I haven't eradicated any of them completely. They're all still a little bit present. And that's a bit depressing until I realize that even a little progress on any one of these biases will have a tremendous impact on my business. I don't have to eliminate my ego, but if I learn to recognize its tricks, I'll remove the barriers that are stopping my growth. Because here's the ultimate hard truth. All of us are holding our businesses back. The knowledge and the systems are out there. You can just buy them. You can pay to have somebody else's mistakes avoided by you. But most of the time, we're pushing the brake pedal while we're pushing the gas. Identifying and working on those biases and behaviors will take your foot off the brake pedal a little at a time. But you can't do it alone. It's impossible. It took my first mentor to help me see, and every mentor since has helped me peel back those behaviors a little bit more, allowing my business to grow faster and faster.